Okay, this down. Here we are playing Wallenstein. This is the final season of actual play. The winter season is really just a scoring season. Yes, the peasants can revolt and everything, but for the most part, that's all we've got. Everything's down. We got the order of play, and both the military actions are fairly early this time. No production, no guarantees on grain or money, which means the warfare could disrupt those very easily. Only one building action, a big army build-up just before one of the military actions, but otherwise we're sitting with what we've got. Most of the building and production is sitting over here. Let's take a look at what the event has. One interesting thing, yellow is so weak with only 4 territories that they can't even fill all their action slots, even using the blanks. Okay, Truppenmangel in Kurpfalz. Sounds like less troops in Kurpfalz. I could drop some by a little bit. Let's see what that is. Troop shortage, receive 3 units instead of 5, or 2 units instead of 3. So the troop production, now that's not going to be a big deal, but the troop production is reduced. Another big grain loss card. Alright, well, let's get started with the first military action. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't get the order of play in place. Well, I'll come back with that and then start the first military action. So everybody took some military action there. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's see, the grain, okay. So let's look at them. This is the current order. Blue came out of here, attacked Salzburg, empty area, took it. That added 1 to the peasant unrest value there, which, if there's a grain shortage, increases their likelihood of losing that afterwards. I don't know if I did that all the time last time. Hard to remember things always. Wolfenbüttel attacked into Altmark, destroying everything there. That big hurt to yellow, that was points they were counting on, and I think they actually have the Altmark card as their other attack. I forgot to remove that. Alright, over to red. Middlemark made an attack on Vorpommern and managed to take that. On to brown. Brown came out of Karnten and failed in an attack on Starbach. And then yellow out of Passau, failure in Bohemia. Not a lot happened. A little bit of build-up and we'll hit another one. Well, there's the build-up before conflict. Seeing the order things come in, this might be hard for some people to buy with the taxes coming afterwards. Alright, well, big issues. Lots and lots of palaces showed up over in Brandenburg. And the event actually affected the red player over here. They got a couple less troops. Hey, we're playing it as a defensive maneuver, so you know, they're not going to be able to attack with those units ever, because this is the last action set in the game. So it probably serves about the same purpose. They just wanted to make sure they got some defenses there in place before the A card came out. They thought they had the money to do it. They may not, because now they aren't going to be able to afford a church if they were trying to buy one. Alright, well now we go into the military for this. Alright, let's take a look at what happened in this military round, because it is over. And this is really the end of the game. It's just really kind of these choices pay out, and then do the revolts happen in a bad way. For blue, they attacked out of Baden. Got themselves Hesse-Darmstadt from the red player. Good move, because red is so far in the lead right now, I think. Black, I can't remember what letter we're on. We're on A. They came out of Voigtland and took Bohemia again from red. These big hits on red. Black may be able to win this. They're not too far behind. But going over to red, red made a one-piece attack from Neumark into Schlesien and took it. You see there's more than one piece there. That's some of the vagaries of the tower. Hey, we recruited more troops while we were there, whatever. Okay, brown. Brown came out of Kirchen and made an attack on Middlemark and took that away from red. They didn't have much they could take of value. I guess they probably should have gone for Anhalt. And they're kind of cursing themselves now. That's the only palace in Sachsen, and it was just as big an area. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe the similarity in the colors made it difficult to distinguish. Maybe the must-kill red feeling, whatever. they ended up not going in there. And then finally yellow. Well, yellow didn't have a card for this. I think they may have lost the territory they were going to attack out of. Probably not a very powerful territory if they lost it, right? All right, let's finish up and do the rest of the pre-programmed stuff and see what happens. Well, the remaining actions have been played, and we're into the winter turn, basically. Had some interesting situations where, for example, red didn't have a buck left over. They should have been able to calculate this. They weren't producing any income. They didn't have a buck left over to build a 1 point area. I'm not sure what happened there exactly. They've made a couple of mistakes like that. Some other people like yellow didn't have enough provinces to build stuff. They're in such trouble here. I mean, you know, they're just not going to produce points. We can see that. All right, well, let's start looking at what the winter creates. And the first and most important thing is, how bad's the grain loss? And the grain loss is 2 across the board. So everybody goes down 2. And now, we could do this in player order or not. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to just do it from left to right like I'm most used to. Let's take a look at what black has in terms of territories. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And enough grain for that. How about red? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, it has to be done in player order. I'll tell you why. Because there's the potential of the revolts. Okay, so let's start with blue. Yeah, black's fine. All right, let's start with blue. Blue has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 areas. And they have 9 grain. They're okay. Black, we already checked. Red, what were we at? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 areas. We're 1 short, which means one of our areas we've got to draw. Or roll, as the case is, to see whether or not... Ooh, they've got 10. Yeah, 10 and 9. Okay. Well, that's a fortuitous number. So Hesse Castle is going to have 1, and there's going to be 1 bonus marker there, which means there's going to be 2 green markers put in the pile for Hesse Castle. And we have to see red and green are the only ones playing. It's like Christmas. All right. Took a red out. All these go back for whatever they matter. All right. So that's red's effect here. Brown. Brown has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're easily fed. And finally, who's last? Yellow with their 3. And poor yellow misses yet again. They've got 3 areas and only enough grain for 2 of them. That's not going to make people happy. Let's roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oberpfalz, which is over here. They're going to get all this. There's only going to be 1 green going in. Chances are they're fine in this. And indeed they are. A bunch of yellows go back here. Alright. Well, that's where we are. Now we got to start counting. It's going to be the same as before. 1 point per area, 1 point per building, and then the bonus points for the buildings. Let's see what it comes out as. Well, not quite a proper spreadsheeting, but I added up the territories, and then down here are all the bonuses from the building pluses. And the ordering really didn't change. Red took the lead at 48, black at 45, brown at 37, blue kind of passed yellow. We saw how bad yellow had done. And they still ended up, well, they ended up getting crap, basically. 6 points for their entire holding. It's a tough game to convince someone, I think, that they want to lead, that they really want to hack on the leader. I think it's going to take a lot more experience with the game to understand just what you can do against the leader. Because certainly you can attack them, but you need to kind of pre-plan that attack usually a season in advance. Whatever attack you're going to make is something you can't just kind of fall into usually. Now granted, we had the situation where the Neumark into Schlesien was kind of a, yeah, I got an extra province. I'm not going to lose Neumark by doing this. If I throw a counter in there, maybe I get something. But in general, it feels like most of your attacks are really things that you built up for in a previous turn. And it's kind of tough to put that much effort into something that may not give you the highest payoff just to hit someone else. And especially since maybe they can defend themselves a little better than some other neighbor. And it's just very tempting to go take a richer province. Of course, it's also very possible to make a lot of mistakes. We saw Red make a couple of big mistakes in the game and still end up holding their lead. At least, you know, things that I could clearly identify. So, all told, it seems like there's a decent amount of luck going on. A decent amount of selfish interests preventing the leader from being pulled down as easily. Now, obviously, that's going to depend on the players. The players who are more familiar with it will be able to say, yeah, I need to get him. The peasant revolts were not as effective as I expected. I was kind of frightened of them. I'm not so sure grain's all that big an investment to make. I mean, it can cut into your armies. There's no question. Anytime you play in the tower, you might be losing some stuff. But especially if you're going early in the turn for the peasant revolts, most of the green counters are out of there, so you probably aren't going to lose too many counters out of your total mix. Random stuff could happen, but you don't know what that is. And I think overall taking risks with the grain might be a fairly reasonable strategy in general. If you can get it up to where you need it, that's great. But if you can't, that's not so great. One thing someone very clever might have noticed, I ended up drawing from the top of here instead of here. It doesn't really matter, but it would have been a different result on the grain revolts. A lot of people who made it because of the low value wouldn't have made it. It's no big deal. Both cards were hidden, but for me. Anyway, I think that's enough for this play. One thing I noticed right away, though, is, gosh, there's no real compelling reason that the game has to end. I could do another year. I could do 30 years. Yeah! The only thing I'm seeing is that some players are definitely falling into a losing situation. Yellow, for example, they're not going to be able to recover from that. And I think that's why the 2-turn limit is there, is that gives you enough time that you're still kind of in it throughout. Yes, you could get demolished, but you're not going to be playing this huge game forever and stuck in kind of this bad position, or just get knocked out of the game, as it were. Because nothing brings you back. If you've got a lot of tokens in the tower, but you don't have any pieces on the board, you're not going to magically appear by any means. Your pieces could probably just be removed from the game. All right, I'll come back with the review on it.